Om Shanti. Good morning, Diamond Morning. Baba, these days he's emphasizing so much on accumulating in our account of purity or charity. And he wants us to keep our slate of purity so clean and pure. Because we know even one act of impurity affects us in so many different ways. It breaks our tapasya in terms of our pledge and promise. It breaks our relationship with Baba. It accumulates sin. And it weakens our yoga with Baba. And it affects our future fortune. So that's why every day Baba wants us to move closer and closer to our purest and most perfect stage through our efforts. So let's listen to Baba's sweet versions. Sakar Murli of the 10th of September, 2022. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, come together and remove the roof of sorrow from this world of the Iron Age. Perform the charitable act of remembering the Father. Question. Even though you children have the imperishable reward of knowledge, instead of accumulating in the account of charity, some of you finish that account. Why is this? Answer. First point. Because they commit sin in between performing the charitable act. Even though they are enlightened souls, they become influenced by bad company and thereby commit sin. Due to committing those sins, the account of charity that they had previously accumulated is finished. Second point. If after belonging to the Father, a soul is hurt by the vice of lust and lets go of the Father's hand, that soul becomes even more sinful than before. Such ones defame the name of the clan. They experience very severe punishment because they defame the Sadguru. They cannot reach a high destination. Om Shanti. The spiritual father has a heart-to-heart conversation with you spiritual children. You souls understand that only our Father is the one unlimited Father. You children have understood this. The destination is liberation and liberation in life. In order to receive liberation, the pilgrimage of remembrance is absolutely essential. And it is absolutely essential to know the beginning, the middle, and the end of creation to attain liberation in life. Both are very easy. The cycle of the world, that of 84 births, continues to rotate. It should remain in the intellects of you children that our cycle of 84 births is now coming to an end. We now have to return home. No one can return home yet, because why no one can return home as yet? The Bible says, because all souls are sinful. Sinful souls cannot go into liberation or liberation in life. You should have such thoughts. Those who do something will receive the return of that and remain happy. You will also be able to take others into happiness. You children have to have mercy of showing others the path. You have to explain what you have to explain. Your souls have now changed from Satopradhan to Tamopradhan. That is from completely impure to from completely pure to completely impure. And this is why you are not able to return home. They even call out, "O purifying." You children understand that it is now the most auspicious conference age. Some are able to remember this very well, whereas others are not able to remember. They repeatedly forget. If you remember the conference age, what will be the benefit of even remembering the conference age? Much more following the directions that Baba gives us during this time of the conference age. He says, if you remember the conference age, your mercury of happiness remains very high. When you remember the Father and the Teacher, too, your degrees of happiness remains high. Some come across big obstacles in between, and others come across minor obstacles. Everyone comes across difficulties. Some climb up very high and then fall back down again. The stage of some is very good, and so they climb into Baba's heart. But when they fall again, all their income is finished. In the world outside, people give so much in donation and do so much charity in order to become charitable souls. However, if in between performing charitable acts, souls begin to perform sinful acts, they become sinful souls. Your act of charity is to have remembrance of the Father. It is only by having remembrance that a soul becomes a charitable soul. When you forget the Father and become influenced by someone's company, then by committing a lot of sin, whatever charity you had performed is finished. Supposing someone gives a donation or performs charity today and opens a center, but turns away tomorrow, he would then fall even lower than he was before because of committing sin. Therefore, instead of the account accumulating, what happens? If someone does that, instead of the account accumulating, it is wiped out. Previously, they did very good service, don't even ask. However, later, they fell right down. They even get married and become even worse than they were before. Once the sin is committed, the burden of that sin continues to increase. There is an account of profit and loss. However, those who want to understand these things will understand. There are light sins. There are also very heavy sins. The worst sin of all is lust. Anger is second, and greed less than that, and attachment is less again. They're all number ones. By being defeated by lust, instead of experiencing profit, souls go into loss because they defame the Satguru. Such souls cannot reach their destination. They climb down from the heart, that is from Baba's heart. They belong to the Father, and then they leave the Father. It also depends on their actions. What is the reason for their leaving? Because they weren't able to follow Baba's Srimad. Mostly it is lust that hits them the hardest. This is the main enemy. Have you ever heard of an effigy of an angry person being burnt? No. The effigy is created of one who is lustful. It is Ravan. The Father says, by conquering lust, you will become the conquerors of the world. You have been completely defeated. So instead of being victorious, you are defeated. They call out to the Father, O purifier, come. It is because of lust that people suffer a great deal. And then they say, Baba, I made my face dirty. Baba says, you have become someone who defames the cloud. This would not be said because of anger or attachment. Everything depends on. So what everything depends on? Sometimes he says, remembrance, purity, etc. Today he is saying, everything depends on lust. They call out, O purifier, come. The Father has come, and yet souls continue to become impure. The Father comes, and yet souls continue to become impure. And so what can the Father say? Everyone, sages, holy men, etc., call out, O purifier, come. But no one is, Baba says, but no one understands the meaning of that. Yes, some actually believe that God will come and establish the new world. However, because they have given the cycle a very long duration, they have fallen into immense darkness. There is knowledge and ignorance. The Father explains that those on the path of devotion don't even know the one they worship. And so what use is such devotion? Because they don't understand. Whatever they do is fruitless, that is unsuccessful, in brackets. People think that fruit is received by making donations and performing charity. But that only happens for a temporary period. Temporary happiness, like the droppings of a crow, is received. Sannyasis do say that whatever happiness is received in this world is like the droppings of a crow, and all the rest is sorrow, nothing but sorrow. Droppings of the crow mean very rare, so happiness is very, very rare in this world. The Father says, remember me alone, and all your sorrow will be removed. Just think how much do I remember Baba so that the old karmic accounts can be settled and new ones accumulated? Very interesting question to ask the self. How much do I remember Baba so that the old karmic accounts can be settled and new ones accumulated? However much someone accumulates, it is not a question in terms of money, etc. Here, the question is removing sins. The main aspect is that of becoming pure. Don't think that you are writing to Baba about it and the sins of many birds will be settled. Don't think that by writing to Baba about it, the sins of many birds will be settled. There is a great burden of sins of many birds. They will not be cut away. But yes, the burden of those who have been committed in this birth can be lightened by telling Baba, but it wouldn't be cut away. However, you do have to make a great deal of effort. The more you stay in remembrance, the more the burden of sin will be lightened. Some children make a lot of effort. They show the path to hundreds and thousands of people. They explain the cycle of 84 births. You know what the account of the different births is. Just think, how much yoga power do I have? And when will I take birth? Will it be at the beginning of the golden age? Those who make a lot of effort will take birth at the beginning of the golden age. Those souls will not remain hidden. Don't think that all of you will go to the golden age. Some will come at the end and claim a little something. Those who earn a great deal of income are the ones who come earlier. Those who earn less income come later on. And this is why you have to remember the Father a great deal. It is very easy. Those who remember Baba very well experience a great deal of happiness, knowing that they will very soon go to the new world. If you want to become a king, what do we have to do? If you want to become a king, you would have to create subjects. If you don't create subjects, how would you become a king? Some open a center, earn a lot of income through that. Some open a center and earn a lot of income through that. When there is benefit, they even open 2 or 3 centers. Baba also continues to open centers. The account of those who do something is created. You have to come together to remove the root of sorrow. You all put your shoulders together, and so you all receive your share. Shoulders together is like supporting each other through unity and all of that. To the extent that you make effort, to that extent you claim a high status. You will also experience a great deal of happiness. It is seen how many have been uplifted. Some continue to do very good service. Mama became the example of doing very good service, and she therefore experienced a great deal of benefit. The main thing is to do service. Yoga is also service. You continue to receive directions on how to stay in remembrance. Baba has also explained the significance of the point, and as time goes by, he continues to explain more. Day by day, progress will take place. New points will continue to emerge. It is not very difficult, but then it is not very easy either. Those who remain on service catch the points very quickly. Nothing sits in the intellects of those who don't remain busy doing service. They continue to say, bindi, bindi, point. But how do you remember a point? How can a point be seen? It is very easy. You don't have to remember Baba by keeping a point in front of you. This is something that has to be understood. A soul is such a tiny point. No one else can tell you the name, form, land, or time of a soul. They ask what God's name, form, land, and time period are. Senseless human beings neither understand about souls nor the Supreme Soul. Here too, there are some who don't understand fully. They continue to say, Baba, Baba. They neither study knowledge, nor do they do any service. They just continue to eat. Sannyasis also have such followers who don't do anything but keep eating. At least they become renunciates and free themselves from vice. That is not a small thing. Baba explains that you were pure and that you have now become impure. You are the ones who have been around the cycle of 84 births. People are unable to understand these things. Devotion is completely separate from knowledge. There is the difference of day and night. You know that you have to make effort and become like Lakshmi and Narayan, and so you have to follow Srimad completely. This requires effort. However, that sickness, etc., will continue to come. Signs of it will remain until the end, and it will then disappear, and no sorrow will remain at all. The sickness of the vices, especially lust, Baba is emphasizing today. The Father is known as the remover of sorrow and the bestower of happiness. They say, O Liberator, have mercy on us so that we become liberated from sorrow. It is at times of sorrow that human beings remember God. At a time of sorrow, everyone calls out, O God, O Rama. They remember God. But who is God? How do they recognize him to be God? That recognition is not there. So they remember God, they point up, they look at it up in the sky. But who is God? No one understands this. They simply say, remember God the Father, or remember Kuda, God. God is a friend in this context. You understand very well that he is our Father. The Father is the one who teaches us. And what he teaches us? Consider yourselves to be souls and remember me. On the path of devotion, it isn't said, consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Father. No. There are so many different varieties of devotion, but there is only one knowledge. People think that they will meet God after performing devotion. When does devotion begin? And who does the most devotion? Baba says no one knows this. Would we still continue to perform devotion for 40,000 years? For how long would devotion continue? You now understand for what length of time devotion continues and for what length of time knowledge continues. Devotees don't know these things. You hold so many exhibitions in order to explain to them. Only a handful out of multi-millions emerge from the exhibitions. As time goes by, more will emerge. Countless people come here. There are very few of you true Brahmins who remain pure, and only those who are regular should come here. However, we cannot make an accurate account of how many true Brahmins there are because there are also false ones. The task of a Brahmin, so-called Brahmin with lowercase b, priest, Brahmin priest, is to relate stories. Baba also continues to relate stories. You too have to relate stories. As is the father, so the children. The duty of you children is to relate the Gita. But not everyone does this. You know that the book of knowledge is just the one Gita. It is the jewel of all the scriptures. Everything is included in that. The Gita is the mother and father. The Father is the one who comes and grants salvation to all. You can also write that the birth of Shiv Baba is like a diamond, and that the birth of everyone else is as worthless as a shell. Everyone remembers the Father. Iron Age human beings worship Golden Age deities. Who made them like that? Only the one Father. However, only those who understand this very well will be able to explain to others. No one explains systematically. Baba says, instead of construction, many of my children cause destruction. There are some who are Maharatis, some who are the cavalry, and some who are the infantry. What will those who are the infantry do? They will have to bow down and work for those who have studied. What will you call those who need a bow down in front of others? No, study or teach others? Ostriches. Acha. Okay. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Baghdad. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say, Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for Dharana points to practice for today. First point. First point, the Father is a point. Unless this accurately, Baba says, understand this accurately and remember the Father. Don't become confused and just say bindi, bindi, point. Remain engaged in doing service. Second point. Listen to the true Gita and relate it to others. In order to become true Brahmins, remain pure and definitely study regularly. Baba's blessing for today. May you have the fortune of happiness and be carefree by constantly eating the nourishment of happiness and sharing it with others. Baba explains the blessing. The nourishment of Brahmin life is happiness. Those who constantly eat the nourishment of happiness and share it with others have the fortune of happiness. It constantly emerges from their hearts. What emerges from their hearts constantly? No one else is as fortunate as I am. Even if oceans of waves come to drown you, you will not be worried, because those who are yoke-yoked are always safe. Therefore, it is at this time of the whole cycle that you experience a carefree life. You will always be carefree. You will also be carefree, in the golden age. But you wouldn't have this knowledge there. And the slogan for today: in order to be an easy effort maker, fill yourself with everyone's blessings. Om Shanti. So do have a very powerful day in Baba's remembrance.